And the third conception, it treats space as manifestation of imaginations. Now, I will explain these conceptions of space one by one with examples. First one, space as distance. This is the most widespread approach to understanding space in organization. Space as distance. These people, the people who believe in this view, right, they define the space as distance, right? Management studies treat it as physical. Some of the management studies, some scholars, they treat space, organizational space, as physical distance. According to this view, organizational space, it is the physical distance, the distance between two or more points, right? These points can be anything from building to furniture to resources to customers or to competitors. The scholars who defined space as distance, they focus on workplace layout and its impact on human behavior. To study relationship between furniture, machine, architectural objects such as doors and windows, and those who occupy the workplace. How things such as furniture, machines, architectural objects, the layout, doors and windows influence the mind and the behavior of people within organizations. They have found out that certain layouts encourage certain pattern of behaviors and interactions within organizations. For example, creating more flexible spaces, bright and airy environments facilitates information sharing and creativity among workers. එයාලා හොයාගත්තා මේ layout එක සකස් කරනකොට කොහොම නම්‍යශීලී spaces වෙනස් කරන්න පුළුවන් spaces bright and airy බොහොම එළිය තින්න එහෙම නැත්නම් වාතාශ්‍රය සහිත layout එකක් හදාගන්න පුළුවන් නම් work space එක ඒකෙන් facilitate කරනවා කියලා information sharing and creativity among workers, right? One of their findings, right? And for another example, they suggest that, right? Some of the researchers suggest that absence physical barriers between employees, right? The absence of physical barriers between employees can increase satisfaction with the workplace and job, and it increases employee motivation and improve interactions between employees. මේ workers අතර barriers අඩු නම් ඒ විදිහට අපි ස්පේස් එක ඩිසයින් කරොත් එහෙම ලේඅවුට් එක හැදුවොත් එහෙම ඒකෙන් එම්ප්ලොයිස්ලා සැටිස්ෆයි කරන්න එයාලා මොටිවේට් කරන්න පුළුවන් ඒ වගේම ඉන්ටරැක්ෂන්ස් වැඩි කරන්න පුළුවන් කියලා සමහර රිසර්චර්ස්ලා යෝජනා කරලා තියෙනවා. හරි. එතකොට මේගොල්ලෝ මේ ඩිස්ටන්ස් එක විදිහට ස්පේස් එක ඩිෆයින් කරපු වීව් කරපු අය දැක්කේ මේක මේ අපි ලේඅවුට් එක වර්ක් ස්පේස් එකේ ලේඅවුට් එක අපි සකස් කරන ආකාරය බලපානවා කියලා එතන ඉන්න මිනිස්සු හිතන විදිහටයි ඒගොල්ලෝ ක්‍රියා කරන ආකාරයටයි. එතකොට ඒගොල්ලෝ යෝජනා කරා මේ ස්පේස් එකේ ලේඅවුට් එක හදන විදිහ වෙනස් කරමින් architectural objects, machines, furniture, colors of furniture, patterns, doors and windows. They assume that they can use those things to influence human behavior. මිනිසුන්ගේ චර්යාවන්ට බලපෑම් කරන්න පුළුවන් කියලා. ඔය වගේ දේවල් වෙනස් කරමින්, ඒවා තියෙන ස්ථානය වෙනස් කරමින්, ඕඩර් එක වෙනස් කරමින් මිනිසුන්ගේ මනසට බලපෑම් කරලා එයාලගෙන් වැඩ කරන ආකාරය චේන්ජ් කරන්න පුළුවන් කියලා මේ ඩිස්ටන්ස් එකක් විදිහට ස්පේස් එක දකින අය විශ්වාස කරා. හරි ඒගොල්ලෝ රිසර්ච් උත් කරා. ඒව ක්‍රියාත්මකත් කරලා තියෙනවා මේගොල්ලන්ගේ findings. Right? Next, I will move to the second conception, second view, right? Space as materialized power relation. spaces materialize power relations. This is also very important. This value, it provides explanation of what produces one's pattern of distance proximity. I will tell it again, right? This view provides explanation of what produces one set of pattern of distance proximity. දැන් ඉස්සර වෙලා කතා කරේ distance ගැන. මෙයාට අවධානය සමහර ඕගනයිසේෂන් වල ඒවටම ආවේනික විදිහට distance සකස් කරන්නේ. හරි? වෙනම proximity කියන එක සම්බන්ධයෙන් වෙනම decisions අරගෙන වෙනම ආකාර pattern එකකට මේ organization space එක හදන්නේ කොහොමද කියලා මෙයාලා පරීක්ෂා කරා. Right? These people, these scholars, they argue that managers design spatial environment or the workspace in order to materialize relations of power. Right? Now, listen to this again, right? They argue that managers of organizations, leaders of organizations, or owners of organization, they design spatial environment or the workspaces in order to materialize their power relations, right? Now, they, according to them, spaces in organization provide fixed positions, right? They carve out individual segments for individual workers. They establish operational limits. They mark places, right? Managers or leaders, right? They mark places. They provide fixed positions for organizational members, carve out individual segments, right? They guarantee the obedience of individuals, better economy of time and movements, right? Using the spaces, right? They create layouts in a way that they can observe, supervise and control the behavior of workers. And this spatial environment of organization, they enable easy visual surveillance and control. And powerful people, they have more spaces, huge rooms, huge car parks, right? Separate places in organizations. And sometimes powerless people, right? The lower level people, they don't have any personal space in organizations. Some organizations, they use space to create power distances. We make a very interesting, හරි? මේ organizations වල මොකක්ද මේගොල්ලෝ කියන කතාව? එයාලා කියනවා organizations වල මේ leaders ලා managers ලා සමහර වෙලාවට මේ space එක භාවිතා කරනවා කියලා power relations materialize කරන්න. ඒ ආයතනයේ තුල බලය ඇති අය නැති අය පෙන්වන්න, ඒ බලය අතර තියෙන පරතරයන් පෙන්වුම් කරන්න මේ space එක භාවිතා කරනවා කියලා. එතකොට දැන් මම කිව්ව example වලට අහුම්කම් දුන්නාම ඔයාලට අපිට තේරෙනවා මේක ඇත්ත කියලා. මේක ඇත්තටම සිද්ධ වෙනවා. හරි? එතකොට workers වලට physical fixed positions තියෙනවා. ඒක සමහර වෙලාවට mark කරලා තියෙනවා. එයාලට වෙනම segments තියෙනවා. ඒවා operational limits ඒවා හදලා තියෙනවා. mark කරලා තියෙනවා. හරි? එතකොට observe කරන්න පුළුවන් විදිහට ඒගොල්ලන්ව supervise කරන්න පුළුවන් විදිහට control කරන්න පුළුවන් විදිහට ඒ spaces හදලා තියෙනවා. ඒ spaces හදලා තියෙන විදිහේ ඉබේට තියෙනවා naturally එනවා work එයාව observe එයා දිහා බලන්න ඒක නිසා එයාව ඉබේම control වීමක් සිද්ධ වෙනවා මේ work place එක ඇතුලේ. ඊට ඒක විතරකුත් නෙමෙයි මේගොල්ලෝ මේ ඔයාලා දන්නවා powerful කට්ටිය වැදුවොත් organizations වල ගත්තොත් ඒගොල්ලෝ spaces තියෙනවා. විශාල rooms, large rooms, right? Large furniture, valuable furniture, right? They have all the facilities, separate car parks, sometimes separate lifts, right? Separate places to eat, right? කණ්ඩ බොණ්ඩ washroom එක lift එක හරි ඊට පස්සේ huge spaces උත් එක්ක ඒවා හරි valuable furniture එක්ක spaces හදනවා මේ powerful අයට. ඒ power එක reflect වෙන විදිහට space එක create කරනවා. හරි ඔයාලගේ organizations ගැන හිතුවහම මේක හරි ඇත්ත කියලා ඔයාලට දැනේ. හරි ඒ වගේම ඔයාලා දන්නවා සමහර වෙලාවට ට්‍රේනින් කෙනෙකුට ඉඳ ගන්නවත් තැනක් නැහැ. They don't have fixed places. Trainees, powerless people in organizations. Sometimes they have very small places, locations, personal areas, right? So using those things, right? They actually create, they materialize power relations. එතකොට මේ ස්පේස් එක මේ විදිහට ඩිෆයින් කරන කට්ටිය ඒක වෙනස්ම විදිහකට දකිනවා මේ ඕගනයිසේෂන්ස් කොහොමද බාලය බෙදා හැරීම සහ එය අනිත් අයට කමියුනිකේට් කිරීම සඳහා මේ ස්පේස් එක කොහොමද භාවිතා කරන්නේ කියලා, right? This happens really, right? Lot of organization use the space to materialize their power relations, right? Then I will move to the third one. Spaces as the manifestation of human imagination. Space as lived experience, simply, right? This involve less concern for distance relations of power. Instead, it focuses on how spaces are produced and manifest in the experience of those who inhabit it, right? Those who occupy it. According to this definition, according to this view, right? Space is our experience. It is our understanding of distance and the meaning which we give, right? So what is space according to this one? It is our experience and understanding of distance and meaning which we give to the place. It is our experiences and perception of space. For example, the way a waiter experiences a restaurant space of a restaurant, and the way a customer experiences the same space are radically different. It influences differently to those two parties, right? These scholars, the scholars who believe in this view, they encourage us to use content of the space, right? The decorations, furniture, clothing, artifacts of all shapes and sizes, colors, patterns, all aesthetics to create pleasurable experiences to people who occupy those places. හරියටම මොකක්ද කියන්නේ? ඒගොල්ලෝ කියනවා space, it is space කියලා කියන්නේ අපි දෙන definition එක. It is something socially constructed. The inhabitants or the people who occupy those spaces define the space, right? අපි තමයි මේ space එක කියලා කියන්නේ අපේ අත්දැකීම සහ එක පුද්ගලයා distance එක තේරුම් ගන්න ආකාරය. හරි එතකොට මම හොඳ එක්සැම්පල් එකක් යූස් කරා වේටර් කෙනෙක් රෙස්ටුරන්ට් එකක් ගත්තොත් ඒකේ ස්පේස් එක වේටර් කෙනෙකුට දැනෙන එක්ස්පීරියන්ස් එකයි කස්ටමර් කෙනෙක් දරන එක්ස්පීරියන්ස් එකයි වෙනස්. හරි එතකොට මේ ස්පේස් එක ඒ දෙන්නට බලපාන ආකාරයක් වෙනස්. එතකොට ඒ දෙන්න දෙන මීනින් එක අනුව තමයි ස්පේස් එකට ඒ ඩිස්ටන්ස් එකට ඒකේ තියෙන දේවල් වලට ඒක ස්පේස් එකේ මීනින් එක තීරණය වෙන්නේ. ඒක බලපාන ආකාරය තීරණය වෙන්නේ. ඒ පුද්ගලයාගේ ස්වභාවය අනුව. එයා ඒක අන්ඩර්ස්ටෑන්ඩ් කරන ආකාරය අනුව. ඒක දිහා එයා බලන ආකාරය අනුව තමයි ස්පේස් එකට ඒ පුද්ගලයාගේ මයින්ඩ් එකට හරි බිහේවියර් එකට හරි බලපෑම් කරන්න පුළුවන් හැකියාව සහ ප්‍රමාණය ලැබෙන්නේ. හරි. එතකොට මේගොල්ලෝ සජෙස්ට් කරනවා මේ එක්ස්පීරියන්ස් කරන කට්ටිය ඉන්නවනේ. දැන් මේකේ ඔකියුපන්ස්ලා ඉන්නවනේ. occupants ලට මේකත් එක්ක ගැටෙන කට්ටියට මේ ස්පේස් එකේ හොඳ ඒ මයින්ඩ් එකට සහ එයාගේ බිහේවියර් එකට හොඳට බලපාන්න නම් යූස් කරන්න පුළුවන් කියලා බොහොම ප්ලෙෂරබල් එක්ස්පීරියන්ස් එකක් දෙන්න නම් ඒ ස්පේස් එකේ කන්ටෙන්ට් එක හරි ඩෙකරේෂන්ස් ෆර්නිචර් clothing other artifacts of all shapes and sizes, colors, patterns, and other aesthetic objects and events use කරන්න කියලා pleasurable experience එක දෙන්න occupants ලට. හරි. එතකොට එයා මේ ස්පේස් එක අන්ඩර්ස්ටෑන්ඩ් කරන ආකාරයෙන් හොඳ අන්ඩර්ස්ටෑන්ඩින් එකක් වෙනවා. ඒක ඕගනයිසේෂන් එකට හොඳයි කියලා තමයි මේ තුන්වෙනි සෙට් එක කියන්නේ. Right? Now, I would like to hear the way your organization use the space. Right? How your organization use space. For what purposes they use space in your organization. Can one or two of you answer my question? How your organization defined or use the spatial environment of your organization to influence mind and behavior of people. කොහොමද ඔයාගේ ඕගනයිසේෂන් එකේ මේ මිනිසුන්ට සහ චර්යාවන්ට බලපෑම් කරන්න මේ ස්පේස් එක භාවිතා කරන්න කියලා can one of you share your experiences based on the things that you learned up to now? Please share your experiences with other members.
Actually, madam, when it comes to government organizations,
Right.
I think they have not given a good concern for the third point. It means space as a manifestation of human imaginations. But
Yes.
they have given a great concern for space as a materialized power relationship, because most of the time bosses are living in top areas. They are having very spacey rooms. They are having separate car parks. So that is there, I think, according to my perception.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Very good. Yes. What about others? What about the private sector organizations? We have around 48 students in the class. Most of you are managers, right? Please share your ideas with your friends. Yes.
As far as private firms concerned, madam, I think they have given the priority to third point.
Do you have any experience? How?
Yes, madam.
Yes.
No, madam, I am working for the government organization, but most of the time I have seen that the private organizations have decorated and they have colored walls, and wall hangings are there to attract customers in order to make them more beneficial.
Yes. Yes, you are correct. Thank you. Thank you very much. Sharing your idea. What about others?
Madam,
About others? Yes.
I think the third one is used by organizations who are like frequently contacting with the customer in front end, and the second one is mostly used by the back end, like factories in the manufacturing sector, something like that, madam. In the service sector, mostly the third one.
Right. Right. Maybe, right? I don't have much experiences in relation to the private sector. But you are correct, right? Based on my knowledge. What about others? Prakash? Heva Manduma. Are you there in the class? Prakash? ඊට ක්ලාස් එකෙන් මම නම් කියනකොට එහෙම යන්න පාහත් අන්න කිව්වොත් ඉන්න හරි. UDS Pereira. Right. ඔයාලා දරුවනේ ප්‍රයිවට් සෙක්ටර් වැඩ කරන අය ඔයාලා ෂෙයාර් කරන්න ideas හරි. මේ ෂෙයාරින් හරියට වැදගත් වෙනවා හරි. experiences අපි ප්‍රායෝගික දේවල් organizations වල වෙන අපේ organizations වල මොනවාද වෙන්නේ මේක කොයි විදිහටද මේක වෙන්නේ කියලා discussion එකක් අපි යන්න ඕනේ. හරි. Right. If you don't have any more answer, can we move to the next slide? Right. Key characteristics of what constitutes an organizational space. Now, organizations, right? This is a different view. I took this one from a separate journal article. So, within this slide also, you can identify the previous three, right? This article, actually I uploaded these two articles to the LMS. Please read those two articles, right? Now, this article explained the way, again, the way organizations use their spaces, right, for different purposes. Now, I will start from the first one. Organizational space as divided. Every organization, organizational space, right? Space of all organizations, they present a double division, right? On one side, a division between internal and external worlds, and on the other, a division inside the organization itself. This division is clearly embedded in the space. Internal and external organizations, and internal to the organization and external to the organization, and within the organizations also there are divisions. In past, right, there were doors, walls, barriers, clocks, and walls, right, buildings, to separate internal space from the external world. And this separation between inside and the outside it was fundamental for the identity of the workers and the managers. But now people can work for an organization without being inside the organization. You know that. Now we have virtual organizations, right? Earlier, even now, right, most of the organization use these different actually artifacts, right? As I mentioned earlier, such as walls, doors, barriers, to separate space, right, as internal space and external space, right? එතකොට මෙතන මේ කියන්නේ මේ some organizations වල මේ space සම්බන්ධයෙන් එක්තරා සිද්ධ වෙන දෙයක්. හරි? මේ space විවිධාකාරයේ artifacts භාවිතා කරලා space එක කොටස් වලට කඩනවා internal and external කියලා. ඒ වගේම like that within the organizations also you can identify different divisions between departments and other important places. එතකොට ඒ organization එක ඇතුළේ මේ space එක කඩලා තමයි යාලා divisions ඇති කරන්නේ. ඒ අවශ්‍ය වෙන ආකාරයට ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ purpose එක අනුව, right? It is first one, right? So this characteristic it determine what constitute an organizational space. එතකොට මේක මේ division මේ space එක භාවිතා කරනවා කියන එක ඒක තීරණය කරනවා මේ space එක සමන්විත වෙන්නේ මොන වගේන්ද කියන එක. එකක් then, right? The second one is organizational space as control. You know that each organizational space is by and large controlled, right? They are controlled. There are different type of controls in organizations. Visual in the that is in the presence of the working person, or when the foreman surveys his work group. Then we have visual and distance, as when a guardian looks at a video in a supermarket or a bank, right? Then we have electronic controls, as when a manager remotely check and control the work of employees. Some organizations, they use all the systems simultaneously. Now, this feeling of being controlled in the workspace, and it has been growing in workplaces. Now, assume that you enter into a supermarket, right? You don't try to steal anything because you know that there are people to observe your behaviors, right? You are observed electronically, right? ඔයා කවුරු හරි බලාගෙන ඉන්නවා කියන feeling එක ඔයාට තියෙනවා සුපර්මාකට් එකකට ගියාම ඒ සේල්ස් කට්ටිය විතරකුත් නෙමෙයි. හරි කැෂියරුත් නෙමෙයි. නමුත් ඔයා දන්නවා කොහේ හරි තැනක ඉඳලා මේ ස්පේස් එක තුල ඔයාව බලන්න කට්ටිය ඉන්නවා කියලා. ඒ ස්පේස් හදන්නේ space and content, right? They arrange the space and the content, the order, the arrangement, the order in a way to observe your behaviors. That happens in the organizations also. Sometimes they create open layouts because it is easy to observe the behavior of the people, right? So they can observe each other. Like open place එක මිනිසුන් වැරදි කර හරි අමාරුයි. මොකද boss හිටියේ නැත ඔයාලම පේනවා. හරි ඉතින් හුඟක් organizations වල ඔයාලා දැකලා තියෙනවා open layouts ඇතුලේ තමයි මිනිස්සු වැඩ කරන්නේ. හරි එතකොට ඒ එකිනෙකාව observe කරන්න පුළුවන් විදිහට ඒ self discipline ඇති වෙන විදිහට control එකක් ඇති වෙන විදිහට තමයි මේ workplace එක design කරන්නේ space එක organization එක ඇතුලේ, right? So they design workspace in a way that control the behavior of people, right? In a way that they can observe the behavior of people using any of those methods which I mentioned earlier, visual and distance, or electronic methods, right? Now, this feeling of being controlled in the workplace, it has been grown workplace එක අපි දන්නවා බොරු කරන්න බෑ. හරි දැන් ඉස්සර නම් attendance වලට බොරු කරානේ දැන් බොරු කරන්න බෑ. හරි එතකොට ඒ බැරි විදිහට ඔයාලගේ spaces හදලා තියෙනවා. ඒකේ content එක හදලා තියෙනවා organizations වලේ control කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙන විදිහට. Right? So managers or the leaders of organizations, they create spatial environments purposely to facilitate controlling, right? So they create it in a way that they can control the behavior of people easily. මේක තව එකක්. මේ ස්පේස් එක හදන්නේ ඩිසයින් කරන්නේ මැනේජර්ස් ලට මේ වර්කර්ස් ලව කන්ට්‍රෝල් කරන්න පුළුවන් විදිහට. එතකොට අද දවස වෙනකොට ඒක වැඩි වෙලා තියෙනවා මේ self discipline ඇති වෙන මට්ටමටම අපිට හැම තිස්සෙම අපිට හිතෙනවා අපිව ඔබ්සර්ව් වෙනවා කියලා. ඒ ලෙවල් එකටම මේ ස්පේසස් හදලා තියෙනවා ඒ වගේ කන්ටෙන්ට්ස් උතුත් එක්ක. right? Next I will move to the third one, organizational space as an imposed hierarchical space. What is it? What is it? When we work in organization, actually we rarely have the choice of job location. But most of the time, our location, right? It closely it influences our mind, and this disposition of space, it is closely related to the hierarchical system of the organization. They create a visible hierarchy within the space. Using the space, managers of organizations, leaders of organizations create visible hierarchy. Right? The location of an office, its size, the number of windows, the type of furniture, and the decorations, they are related to status, right? Associated with persons, positions. So, this special environment, it symbolizes the power distance between people, as I explained earlier. එතකොට අර අපි ඉස්සර වෙලා එකේ කතා කරේ space as materialized power relation කියලා. ඒ කතන්දරේ මේ ආටිකල් එක තුල තියෙන්නේ මෙන්න මේ විදිහට. Right? Organizational space as an imposed and hierarchical space. So according to this researcher, scholar, organizations, managers in organization, they create visible hierarchies within spaces. They use spaces to show the hierarchy, to show the power distance, right? For that, they use various artifacts, right? The location of the office, size of the office, number of windows, the materials that they use to decorate those offices, the type of furniture, value of furniture, right? So they use all of those things, the contents within the space, to reflect the power distance, right? So that is the third one. Fourth one is organizational space as a productive space. What is it? All organizations have their own objects. They are goal-oriented social systems. We know that organizations are goal-oriented social systems. So, when managers or leaders design spatial environment, they consider objectives of the organization, what they want to achieve. It happens, right? It is one of the most important reasons. When they design the workspace, when they design the spatial environment, they consider the objectives of the organization, what they want to achieve. Right? In this sense, a hospital or a university, the research centers or the public office or a plant, right? They are different productive spaces because the objectives of these organizations are different from each other, right? They need different type of workspaces, special environment. Then මොකක්ද මේකෙන් කියන්නේ මේ organizations වලට තියෙනවා different objectives, different purposes based on what they provide, right? Nature of the product or service that they provide. They have different purpose, right? So when managers design the workspace or the spatial environment, first of all, they have to consider the objectives or the main purpose of the organization. If you take these hospital, universities, research centers, public offices and plants, manufacturing plants, their objectives are different from each other. So they need different workspaces, right? Spatial environment. The organization of the space, it will decide requirements of the productive system of this organization. Then organization එක design space එක design කරන්න ඇත්තටම design කරනකොට අනිවාර්යෙන් requirements consider කරන්න වෙනවා organization එකේ ඒ product එක හරි service එක හරි produce කරන්න අවශ්‍ය කරන. So spatial arrangement of of an organization, it depends on the objectives or the main purpose of that particular organization. Right? දැන් එතකොට ඔයාලට මේක පේනවා මොකක්ද කතා කරන්න කියලා. ඒතර පළවෙනි එකේදී මේ ඩිවිෂන් ඇති කරන්න ස්පේස් එක භාවිතා කරනවා. දෙවෙනි එකේදී කන්ට්‍රෝල් කරන්න ස්පේස් එක භාවිතා කරනවා. තුන්වෙනි එකේදී පවර් ගැප් එක, පවර් ඩිස්ටන්ස් එක පෙන්눔 කරන්න, හයරාකි එක පෙන්눔 කරන්න එයාලා ස්පේස් එක භාවිතා කරනවා. හතරවෙනි එකේදී එයාලගේ ඔබ්ජෙක්ටිව් එකට, පර්පස් එකට ඕන විදිහට මේ ස්පේස් එක ඩිසයින් කරනවා. right? Next one, organizational space as personalized place. What is it? Organizational space as a personalized space. Human beings, you know that human beings are territorial animals. Territorial beings, actually. Right? They guard and defend the area that they consider to belong to them. ඔයාලා දන්නවනේ දැන් බල්ලෝ පුස කොහොමද යාළගේ ඒරියා එක මාක් කරන්නේ කියලා. මිනිස්සුන්ට හිතන්න බෑ. හරි? නමුත් මිනිස්සු වෙනස් විදිහේ දේවල් භාවිතා කරනවා ඒක රැක ගන්න. යාළට තමන්ගේ කියලා පර්සනල් ඒරියා එකක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ ඒක රැක ෆයිට් කරනවා. Right? Human beings are territorial beings and they guard and defend the areas that they consider to belong to them. So, workers invest the workplace with personal meanings, trying to both to live in it and change it. Organizations can personalize workspaces in order to fulfill that need of individuals. Organizations can personalize workspaces through visible processes, right? Such as a name on the door or the office, or by a way of a particular decoration and style of an office. මොකද්ද මේ කියන්නේ? මේ මෙතනදී කියන්නේ මිනිස්සු කැමති අපේ ස්පේස් මේවා personalize කරගන්න. හරි? දැන් මම දැන් ඉන්නේ කැම්පස් එකේ මගේ ටේබල් එකේ තියෙනවා මගේ ස්ටුඩන්ට් කෙනෙක් ටැග් දුන්න ෆ්ලවර් වාස් එකක්. ඊට පස්සේ මගේ දීලා තියෙන ෆෝන් එක, මගේ කම්පියුටර්ස්, මගේ භාවිතා කරන ටෙක්ස්ට් බුක්ස්, ඊට පස්සේ ස්ටුඩන්ට්ස්ලා දුන්න එක දේවල්. හරි? එතකොට මේක තමයි මගේ personalized space එක. ඒකට ඔයාලට ඔෆිස් වල ඔයාලට දැකලා ඇති ටේබල් එකට ගෙනල්ලා ගෙදර අයගේ ෆොටෝස් තියාගෙන හරි ඔයාලට තියෙනවා ඔයාගේ බෑග්ස් තියන්න, ඔයාගේ belongings තියන්න තැන. හරි, you have your own space within the organization, right? You arrange it in a way that you want it, right? ඔයාට ඕනේ ඔයාගේ හරියට තමයි ඔයාගේ මේ place එක ඔයා organize කරන්න. ඒක තමයි ඔයාට තියෙන එකම place එක. Organization එකේ ඔයාට ඕන විදිහට තියාගන්න පුළුවන්. Personalized place එක. හරි? එතකොට organizations වලට පුළුවන් මේ personalized place එක create කරන්න. හරි? එතකොට මේ example එකක් මම කිව්වා name board එකක් දාන්න පුළුවන්. දොරට දාලා වෙනම this is your room, this is your personalized place. And they can decorate your office in the way that you want it. Right? Office එකට පුළුවන් ඔයාට ඕන විදිහට decorate කරන්න එක facilitate කරන්න. හරි? Financially ඒගොල්ලන්ට පුළුවන් invest කරන්න. ඒ worker ගේ requirements වලට අනුව ඔයාට බොහොම happy place එකක්, personalized space එකක් හදාන්න. Right? It is another purpose. Right? Next I will move to the sixth one. Organizational space as symbolic. What is it? Organizational space, right? Now, each organization has its own culture. You know that. Their culture is product of many internal factors. Right, such as the nature of the business, the attitudes, values, and views of the founders, right? Then the philosophy of managers, behavior of the key executives, right? Then architecture, aesthetic materials, right? All of those things are part of organizational culture, and they have meanings, right? The organizational space, it contributes to the symbolic representation not only for the personnel but also of the people outside, right? The way the managers have arranged the organizational space, right? It conveys meanings to the insiders as well as outsiders. දැන් organization එකක මේ space එක arrange කරලා තියෙන විදිය, the spatial arrangement, the spatial order or the spatial environment, it is kind of an artifact, the way you have arranged the organization, right? It is a visible artifact, and it convey a message to the internal people as well as outsiders, right? So it's a kind of, it is a part of the organizational culture. එතකොට organization එකේ managers ලා හරි ඒකේ founders ලා හරි leaders ලා හරි මේ organization එකේ space එක, මේ work space එක arrange කරලා තියෙන ආකාරය, ඒ order එක, හරි ඒක beauty එක, හරි කොච්චර නිමිත්ද කියන එක, හරි ඒක මේ internal workers ලාට විතරක් නෙමෙයි, ඔයාලත් ගැටෙන customers ලාට, competitors ලාට, suppliers ලාට, ඒ outsiders ලා සියලු දෙනාටම ලොකු meaning එකක් convey කරනවා. හරි? සමහර organizations වලට, now think about the Google, right? I started with the image of Google, right? Now look at this. What a beautiful organization is it? කොච්චර ලස්සන තැනක්ද නේ ඔයා මේකට යනකොට, මේක entrance එක, හරි එතෙන්ට යනකොට කොච්චර ලස්සන feeling එකක්ද මේ දෙන්නේ. This is the way they have arranged the waiting place, right? Space of the waiting room or the entrance, right? Organization එකට enter වෙන තැන ඒ work space එක ඒගොල්ලෝ හදලා තියෙන විදිහ මේ, හරි? එතකොට මෙතෙන්ට යනකොටම මේ organization එකේම identity එක reflect වෙනවා ඒ space එක arrange කරලා තියෙන විදිහෙන්, right? එතකොට ඒ organization space එක පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන් හරි ලස්සනට, හරි මොකක් සඳහාද? ඒ identity එක, ඒකේ culture එක create කරන්නත් මේ space එක භාවිතා කරන්න පුළුවන්. Organizational space as symbolic. Then finally we have organizational space as social. Every organizational space is a social system. Organizations are social systems. They are societies, right? So with this system, we find different people, right? Based on sex, age, professions, and their Sorry for the disturbance, right? One of your students, I thought that he is in the class and you don't hear the contents, right? That's why I answered the phone, right? So we were talking about organizational space as social, right? Now, as I explained earlier, organizations are social systems, and this organizational space, it is also a social system. Within this organizational space, we have different people, right? With different background based on sex, age, professional, ethics, from different nationalities, right? Or from different groups, right? Sometimes these people, they have different spaces in the organization, right? And these divisions influence the behavior of those groups, right? Actually, For example, sometimes women's corner. There are places for female workers to gather. And there are many spaces. මිනිසුන්ට පිරිමියට එකතු වෙන්න තැන් තියෙනවා. හරි? පිරිමියට සෙල්ලම් කරන්න, ඒගොල්ලන්ට ගේම්ස් ප්ලේ කරන්න, කාන්තාවන්ට එකතු වෙන්න, හරි වැඩ කරන්න. එහෙම තැන් තියෙනවා. හරි? දැන් මේක අපේ රටේ ඔයාලට මේ එක්සැම්පල් එක නැති වුණාට දැන් ඇමරිකාවේ එහෙම ගත්තාම ඒ ගොඩාක් වෙනස් ඩයිවර්ස් ගෲප් එකක් ඉන්නවා. එතකොට ඒගොල්ලෝ දහ ගන්නවා. හරි මේ ස්පේස් එක ඇතුලේ වෙනම පර්සනල් ස්පේසස් හදාගන්න වෙනම ගෲප්ස් වලට. හරි? එතකොට සමහර වෙලාවට ඒක නෙගටිව්ලි බලපාන්නත් පුළුවන්, පොසිටිව් විදියට බලපාන්නත් පුළුවන්. එතකොට මැනේජර්ස්ලා විදියට මේ සෝෂල් සිස්ටම් එක ස්පේස් එක සෝෂල් සිස්ටම් එකක් විදියට ගත්තාම ඒ සෝෂල් සිස්ටම් එක ඇතුලේ ඉන්න මේ ඩයිවර්ස් ගෲප්ස් මේ ස්පේස් එක භාවිතා කරන විදිහ ඒක තුල ඉන්න social actors ලට අපි කියන්නේ occupants ලට inhabitants ලට බලපාන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක නිසා managers ලා ඒ සම්බන්ධයෙන් අවදියෙන් ඉන්න ඕන. Right? So next I will move to very another topic. The same thing, right? To discuss the impact, right? Now, this special environment of a place, right? It dramatically impacts human behavior, right? We discussed a lot of ways, right? That this space influence the behavior of people. A quality workplace design leads to a less stressful and more productive atmosphere. Employees need to feel comfortable and calm in the physical workspace to produce their best work, right? To produce their best performance. They prefer healthy workspaces, right? And for example, such as wellness rooms, sit stands, and if you take these young workers, they prefer privacy in their workspace with their own ponds, right? Soundproofed, ventilized, powered space, right? These things, such as the personal spaces, right? They give employees uninterrupted time to focus on work. And we know that workers spend almost 1/3 of their lives in the office. And in order to find and retain top people, right, within the organization, top talents, it is essential to foster an environment that empower people within the right space to work, think and collaborate naturally. එතකොට ඔයාලා දන්නවා මේ දැන් highly competitive environment එකක් තියෙන්නේ. මේ environment එක තුල අර top talents retain කරගන්න නම් ඔයාලට recruit කරගන්න නම් මේ environment එක, workspace එක, work environment එක වැදගත් සාධකයක් වෙනවා මිනිස්සුන්ව ගේන්න, right? Now මේ එහෙම නැතිනම් මේ workers ලා බලන්නේ ඇත්තට මේ work happily work කරන්න පුළුවන් workplace එකක්ද කියලා organization එක. එතකොට ඒක mess එක මිනිස්සු ඉන්නේ නැහැ. හරි? ඒක mess එකක් විදිහට එළියට පේනවා නම් මේ space එක දිහා workspace එක use කරන ආකාරය mess එකක් වගේ පේනවා නම් එහෙම workers ලා talent workers ඔයාලා ගාවට එන්නේ නැහැ. ඒක නිසා මේ top workers ලාව ඔයාලට recruit කරන්න ඕන නම් හරි ඔයාලට සිද්ධ වෙනවා අනිවාර්යෙන්ම මේ workspace එක බොහොම ලස්සනට හදන්න. Right? Now most of offices they have most of organizations have open layout. They are fantastic. But it really needs to be implemented correctly with employee productivity and happiness in mind. Then open layouts තිබ්බට මේවා හොඳයි. හරි වගේ benefits ගැන කතා කරනවා. මේක කරන්න ඕනේ. අර workers ලගේ productivity එකයි happiness ගැනයි ඔළුවේ තියාගෙන. Right? From offering private rooms to take a call and then quiet spaces for meditation to actually fun, comfortable areas that foster collaborations. It's imperative to think about building office spaces with different environments to maximize employees' well-being, right? Organizational space, it influences human-to-human interactions. We know that. Now, a lot of human interactions create a significant impact on this actually employees' performance, right? If they can interact with each other without any barrier, it will improve their performance. But this lack of human interaction, it creates negative impact, right? Negative significant impact on employees. We know that human beings are social animals. So they need to interact with each other. They want to keep relationships continuously. They need the support of other people. So workspaces, they should facilitate relationships and teamwork within organizations. And managers should create safe physical spaces and people can collaborate and help each other. And all of those things increase motivation and job satisfaction of employees. Now look at these cartoons. Think about the impact of these workspaces on the behavior of the people, impact of these workplaces on the mind of the people in this organization, and how they influence the performance of those workers. Cartoons diha chuttak balanna, right? I will make it more bigger. Oh, look at this one, this picture. Now, they don't have space even to discuss the important points with another employee, manager, or with customers. Sometimes this person may be a customer. And look at this middle one. Think about the way this messy workspace influence the mind and the behavior of the people within this workplace. But in the world, in our country, right, we have lot of this type of organizations. මිනිස්සු එක ගොඩේ මෙහෙම වැටිලා වැඩ කරන කිසිම පිළිවෙලක් නැති හරි work spaces තියෙනවා හැම තැනම. හරි කවුරුවත් මේ managers ලා මේ organizations වල මේ ස්පේස් එක ඒගොල්ලන් භාවිතා කරන විදිය ඕගනයිස් කරලා තියෙන ආකාරය arrange කරලා තියෙන ආකාරය මේ මිනිසුන්ගේ මනසට සහ ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ චර්යාවන්ට බලපාන බව හිතන්නේ නැහැ. හරි නමුත් ඒක සිටීම ඉතා අවශ්‍ය තත්ත්වයට පත් වෙලා තියෙනවා. Right? These disorganized workspaces, they lead to decreased productivity and unprofessional behaviors. It increases stress levels. It influences employees' health conditions, both physical and mental health conditions. If the workplace is a total mess, then it dissatisfies employees, right? And reduce their commitment. These cartoons shows the nature of disorganized workspaces, right? Now look at this. We can divide the workspace into 4 main categories. First one, intimate space. Second one, personal space. Third one, social space. And we have another one. It is a kind of a social space, but it is the public space. We can take it separately, right? Intimate space of a person, personal space of a person, social space of a person, and then public spaces in the organization. Now, I will start from the intimate space. People use intimate space for physical and emotional confidential communications, such as telling someone a secret, hugging, holding hands, or standing side by side. There is a physical distance of 0 to 2 feet between individuals, and this space is usually reserved for actually close family members, friends, and pets. All individuals should have intimate spaces even within organization. මේ හැම කෙනෙකුටම intimate space එකක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ organizations තුල. Right? Then I will move to the personal space. It is a distance that you like to keep between you and other people in order to feel comfortable. Personal space, right? The distance that you like to keep between you and the other people in order to feel comfortable. For example, when you are talking to someone or traveling on a bus or a train, right? You want to keep a certain distance with other people. It is the area which can be regarded as belonging to a person privately, in which to place belongings, right? එතකොට මේක මේ ඔයාට අයිති ඒරියා එකක් තමයි මේ දෙකම. හරි? මේ දෙකම මේ යම්කිසි පුද්ගලයෙකුට අයිති ප්‍රදේශයක්. හරි? එතකොට එයාට අවශ්‍ය විදිහට මේක සකස් කරගන්න, එයාගේ දේවල් තියාගන්න, එයාට move වෙන්න, හරි? ඒ පුළුවන් විදිහට බොහොම comfortable විදිහට ජීවත් වෙන්න පුළුවන් විදිහට මේ intimate space එකයි personal space එකයි සකස් කරන්න ඕනේ. Right? Managers of organization, they should provide these facilities, create the workspace in a way that it gives both intimate space and personal space for each and every employee. හැම පුද්ගලයෙකුටම හැම සේවකයෙකුටම මේ ස්පේස් එක එන විදිහට ඩිසයින් කරන්න ඕනේ. එහෙම වුණොත් තමයි මේ happy workforce එක organization එකක් ඇතුලේ create කරන්න පුළුවන්. Right? Next, we have the social workspace. It is a place where people gather and interact with each other. It is a place where you do teamwork, right? It is an areas designed for social interactions. Organizations should have they should design these social spaces for the employees of the organization. And finally, we have public spaces, again, where the people meet and interact with each other. It is a kind of a social space, but it is a place that is generally open, accessible to all people. Then, the social space එක තුල ඉන්න පුළුවන් organization එක ඔයා වැඩ කරන group එක වගේ team එක හරි ඔයා එකට වැඩ කරන ඔයාට related parties තමයි social space එක ඇතුලේ ඉන්නේ. නමුත් public space එක ඇතුලේ ඉන්න පුළුවන් සියලුම දෙනාට. හරි organization එකේ සියලුම දෙනාට සමහරලාට special purpose එකක් නැතුව gather වෙන්න පුළුවන්, කතා කරන්න පුළුවන්, එකතු වෙන්න පුළුවන් එකක් තමයි public space කියලා කියන්නේ. Right? Within public spaces, socialize with each other and they discover common passions. As manager, when you design the special for the organization, create these spaces for all workers. Right? Now look at this. Take 2 minutes and look at each and every image. Look at the way that they have created the personal space. And look at the way they have created the social places to gather, places to discuss with each other. Now here, look at this picture. Now these are real organizations in the world. Think about the way they have used the space to give pleasurable experiences for workers as well as the customers. Now here, right, you can see the social spaces. Sometimes this place may be a public space, and here they have the social space. Yeah, the related people, they have gathered to discuss something, right? And look at this. So, as managers of your organizations, when you become the top people in your organizations, change the existing. Yes, Kavinda.
Yeah, madam. I have a small question.
Yes.
According to these images, I believe so it is very difficult to identify and differentiate intimate space. Am I correct, madam?
Yes, you are correct. These images, they don't show the intimate space, but here, look at this top corner picture, right? Left side. Sorry, this one. Look at this. This person, he has a kind of a both intimate and personal space, right? But on the other pictures, they don't. These pictures, they don't show the intimate and personal spaces, right? But in these organizations, they have, right? But within the picture, we can't see them. මෙතන මේ organizations වල දැන් මෙතන ඇත්තටම මේ photos තුලින් පෙන්නන්නේ මේකේ විතරයි මේ personal space එකයි මේ social space එකයි පෙන්නන්නේ මෙතනත් social space එකයි මේක public space එකක් මෙතන පෙන්නනවා. නමුත් මෙතන අර ඉන්ඩිවිජුවල් වර්කර්ස් ලා වැඩ කරන එක පෙන්වන්නේ නැහැ කොතනද කියලා. මෙතනත් මේක මම ඇත්තටම ගත්තේ මේ ස්පේස් එක මේ වර්කර් කෙනෙකුට ඕනේ නම් ගිහිල්ලා කෝල් එකක් ගන්න තනියම එයාගේ පොඩි වෙලාවක් ගත කරන්න. හරි? hello vast ස්පේස් එකකුත් එක්ක මේ ක්‍රියේට් කරලා තියෙන මේ ආටිෆැක්ට් එක මේ ආකිටෙක්චරල් ස්ටයිල් එක. හරි? මේවට පුළුවන් කොහොම ප්ලෙෂරබල් එක්ස්පීරියන්ස් එකක් ඇති කරන්න මේ ඉන්න වර්කර්ස්ලාට. හරි ඒතකොට අපිට සමහරවිට ගොඩක් සල්ලි තියෙන්න ඕනේ මේවා කරන්න. නමුත් සල්ලි නොතිබුණත් අපිට තියෙන සම්පත් කරේ කොහොම ලස්සනට යූස් කරන්න පුළුවන් ඕගනයිසේෂන් එකක් ඇතුලේ. right? Yes. Yes, this one. Yes. Yes. Yes, but actually they prefer those things not only within their personal lives but also within organizations also. They prefer these intimate spaces, right? Because they are they value they are individualistic, so they need the personal freedom, right? They need this intimate space. Right. Thank you for all the comments, and then I will move to the defensible spaces. How these humans, as I explained earlier, they tend to develop defensible spaces around themselves. ඇත්තටම මේ මිනිස්සු බොහොම ආරක්ෂක ගොඩනගා ගන්න උත්සාහ කරනවා. Right? You know the meaning of defensible, right? It means able to be protected. Actually, it is an area, defensible space. It is an area that has features that convey ownership and offered easy and frequent surveillance, right? There are two components of these defensible spaces. They are surveillance and territoriality. Now, if I start with surveillance is ability to actually observe closely. Surveillance, it is the ability to observe closely. It is the monitoring of the environment during normal daily activities. Surveillance make it more difficult for other people to engage in unnoticed activities. For example, this common surveillance factors include windows, doors, external lighting, then this well-managed spaces and cameras, right? That is the first one, surveillance. And on the other hand, territoriality, it is the establishment of clearly defined spaces of ownership. People use symbolic barriers to show their personal or intimate territory. For example, a house, right? No, it is not within the organization, but if I take a house, it is the most private space that human owns, and they establish space defenses such as gates, walls, and safeguard their privacy. These space defenses reflect that all human interactions in their spaces are personal and outsiders are not allowed to enter without permission. In organizations also, as we discussed earlier, employees create defensible spaces, their own areas, and they mark their personal territory with symbols, personal belongings, or photos of close relatives, as I explained earlier. So, again, I will remind you that managers or the leaders of organizations, they should create spaces, these personal spaces for employees. එතකොට මේ අපි කතා කරේ එක concept එකක් ගන්න ඉතා වැදගත්. මේ human beings ලා විදිහට කොහොමද defensible spaces අපි create කරගන්නේ කියලා. දැන් අපි පැහැදිලිවම අපේ ගෙදර හරි wall එක තාප්පයක් බැඳලා අපිට ඕන විදිහට මේවා කරගෙන gate එකක් දාලා අපි symbolize කරන this place. You are not allowed to enter into this place without our permission, right? A space sector, we use walls, gates, and other barriers to separate us from others, to separate our space from the spaces of other people. The same thing happened within organizations, right? They create their own personal workspaces, and they mark their personal territories with symbols, personal belongings, photos, right? And other things. දැන් ඔයාලා බලන්න ගිහිල්ලා ඔයාලගේ organizations එකට ගිහිල්ලා නිකන් බලන්න එක එක පුද්ගලයන්ගේ tables එයාලගේ rooms එහෙම කොහොමද තියෙන්නේ කියලා. ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ personalize කරලා තියෙනවා එයාලගේ එක place එකක්. හරි? එතකොට එතනට ඒක හඳුනා ගන්න පුළුවන්. අනිත් ඒ වගේ මේ space එක this is my space කියන පැහැදිලි පෙන් කරලා පෙන්නනවා. ඒක ඔයාට අයිති නැති වුණා. හරි? ඒකට ඒක human nature එකක්. organization එක වැඩ කරත් අර ඉස්සෙල්ලා වගේ එක යාළුවෙක් කතා කරපු විදිහට මේ organizations තුලත් හරි දැන් westerners ලා ගත්තොත් ඒගොල්ලෝ හරිම individualistic nature එකක් තියෙන. ඒගොල්ලෝ කැමති පෞද්ගලිකව වැඩ කරන්න, තීරණ ගන්න, නිදහස. හරි distance maintain කරනවා. ඒගොල්ලෝ අපි වාගේ අතින් අල්ලගෙන බදාගෙන ඉන්නේ නැහැ. හරි? එතකොට ඒ මේ ස්පේස් එක create කරලා දෙන්න ඕනේ ඕගනයිසේෂන් එකක් ඒ workersලට සතුටෙන් වැඩ කරන්න නම්. හරි? ඒ defensible space එක පිළි අරගෙන accept කරලා ඒක create කරලා දෙන්න ඕනේ. යාලට නිදහසේ වැඩ කරගෙන යන්න නම්. Right? Let's move to the space order. It's pattern in which things are arranged or organized in a particular space, right? Special order, it is the way things are arranged or organized in a particular space. Simply, it is the way things, right? Both material and non-material, both material and social are arranged around in your workspace, right? It is kind of an organizational structure in which details are presented as they are located in the space from left to right, for top to bottom. For example, if I take the spatial order of Fayol Hall of our university, I can describe it from left to right, right? The students' chairs, teachers' table, whiteboard, projectors, AC machines, right? With all of those things, I can describe the spatial environment of the Fayol Hall, right? So that there is an order, right? There is an order for the space of that hall, right? It describes things as they appear observed. The spatial order, it describes things as they appear when observed. This spatial order, it sends messages or communicate views to its users. For example, in organizational context, the spatial order, the way things are arranged within the organization, within the workspace, it communicates messages to employees, customers, and other parties, right? These spatial order, it can be inviting, intimidating, comfortable or uncomfortable, pleasing or apprehensive. What do you mean by inviting? Sometimes this spatial order, the way you have arranged things within the workspace, it will offer the promise of an attractive, enjoyable experience. That is the meaning of inviting, right? The spatial order or the spatial environment, it offers the promise of an attractive, enjoyable experiences. If it is intimidating, right? Intimidating means having a threatening effect. It causes loss of courage, and it produces the feeling of fear or timidity, right? It makes you feel nervous, right? There are some special orders or special environment that make you feel nervous, right? That produce feeling of fear or timidity, right? And comfortable means the comfortable spatial environments or spatial orders produce physical ease and relaxation, produce a relaxing feeling, right? Because of shapes and materials. It ඉතින් ඒ සියලුම දේවල් මේක තුල gap වෙලා තියෙනවා. Right? So it depends on whether you encourage or discourage participation. Right? It depends on whether you encourage or discourage teamwork. It depends on whether you like to encourage or discourage social interactions. Right? It depends on the way you want to show the power distance. And it depends on a lot of other things. එතකොට මේ cultures ඇතුලේ තියෙන මේ power distance, teamwork, social interactions ඒ වගේ දේවල් මේ සියල්ලම බලපානවා ඒ special order එක එහෙම නැත්නම් special environment එක arrange කරන ආකාරයට. Right? Usually users change this personal order according to their beliefs, and managers are responsible to create user-friendly and dynamic spatial orders. Right? Don't keep the same spatial order for a long time. Right? You have to change it from time to time. Right? When you change the spatial order or the spatial environment, you can observe that. You can observe the way it influences the behavior and the minds of the people. Now, ඔයාලට තේරෙනවා organizations එක අමතක කරන්න. හරි? ඔයාගේම room එකේ හරි නිදන කාමරේ වෙන්න පුළුවන්, office room එකේ වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඔය තියෙන furniture ටිකම වෙනස් විදිහකට arrange කරලා බලන්න. හරි? මේක කරන්න. එකම විදිහකට නැතුව කරන්න. විවිධාකාරයෙන් බලපානවා මේ වෙනසම. හරි එතකොට organizations උනත් එකම special order එක දිග කාලයක් තියාගන්නේ නැතුව ඒක වෙනස් කරන්න ඕනේ කාලෙට. Right? Do you need a break? Or do you need a small break?
Yes, madam, it's better if we can have a small break.
Right. Now it's 2:40. I think it's at about 10 minutes. Or 15 minutes. Now it's 2:40. I will give you 15 minutes break, right? Right.
Thank you, madam.
2:55. Now I hope that all of you will come back, right? Now we have 47 students in the class.
Sure, madam, sure.
Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
Now, look at this. Researchers in this area, they have found out that this spatial order or the things that you use to organize or arrange the space, they affect human mind. Right now, look at this. First one, patterns. Right. You know the meaning of pattern. Pattern, it is a repeated, decorated design, right? Something which has a certain kind of a symmetry. Now, this image, it shows a spatial order of a waiting room in an organization. The designers of this spatial environment, they have used different patterns to make it more pleasing, comfortable and stress-free environment, right? Now, according to these researchers, these patterns, right, using patterns within the spatial order, within the spatial environment, it enhances the feeling of superiority and control, making the waiting individuals feel less stressed or calmer. Now, look at this. Here, the feeling of mastery means a feeling of superiority. It enhances the using patterns, enhances the feeling of superiority or mastery and control. And it makes the waiting individuals feel less stressed and calmer, but also make his brain work on a subconscious level, resulting in good health. And however, we know that, you know that too much of everything results in counter effects. And overusing patterns in a certain combination can end up giving the users headaches and a feeling of discomfort. Right? You should not overuse patterns because it creates a kind of a messy environment if you use patterns more than the requirements, right? ඕනෑවට වඩා වැඩිපුර use කරන්න ගියොත් එහෙම patterns එතකොට ඒක comfortable නැති දෙයක් create කරනවා, right? Next, colors. Now look at this. Colors in space. Look at the picture. Look at the image. This is another waiting room, right? This is another waiting room. You know that colors, they are wordless, soundless languages. Colors communicate a lot of messages to users and they create different type of feelings. Different colors create different type of feelings. There are colors that create exciting, soothing, calming or unpleasant experiences to their users. These colors that human use, they add deeper meaning to objects, spaces and places. You know that. All of us are familiar with this concept, right? The colors that we use, the colors that humans use, they add a deeper meaning to objects, spaces and places. Now look at this image. It is an image of a resting place in an organization. Light, soft colors, right? They have used the green and the light dash color. These light, soft color have created pleasant and comfortable environment for users. These colors, they can make the space wider or tighter. You know that. Through the use of light colors or dark colors. And they have the capacity to reach deeper into our mind and play with our moods and feelings. For example, in waiting area and in hospitals, they use green color to soothe the users, make them feel calmer and less stress. Apply color psychology. Actually, there is a branch of a psychology named color psychology, right? You can apply color psychology when you design your workspace. Warm colors such as red, yellow, and orange, they also can spark a variety of emotions ranging from comfort and warmth to hostility and anger. And cool colors, right? There are cool colors such as green, blue, and what are the cool colors? Purple, right? They spark feeling of calmness as well as sadness. These cool colors such as green, blue, and purples, they create feeling of calmness as well as sadness, right? For example, according to this color psychology, red color, right? I will give you a few examples. Red color increases blood circulation and breathing patterns, right? Breathing rate actually. It is associated with both love and warmth. It creates sense of importance. Now think about the red carbon, right? This red color, it creates a sense of importance. On the other hand, orange, it is a good way to add excitement. Yellow is associated with happiness, but also activates the anxiety center of the brain. Now, all of these things are result of research, right? Done by psychologists. Light shades, light orange color play on happiness aspect, right? So likewise, different colors create have the capacity to create different feelings. So after studying this color psychology, you can use that, right, to create a pleasurable environment within your organization, right? To make your workspace or the spatial environment more beautiful and more meaningful, you can use colors. Now look at this. Natural lighting space. Researchers, they have found out that the natural sunlight releases the serotonin hormone that helps depression and promote the feeling of well-being and happiness. Now, all of these things are the result of different research, right? And you can use bright lights to preferably natural bright lights to stimulate the brain of employees and keep them focused in what they do. They apply this technique in schools, universities, and offices. And they have found that this natural light increases productivity and speed of work as well. So when you design the workspace in your organization, you can use the natural light. It is a factor that you have to consider when you develop the architectural design for the organization. එතකොට මේක පටන් ගන්න ඕනේ මේ work space එක arrange කරනකොට නෙමෙයි. හරි මේක architectural design එක කරන වෙලාවෙදිම building එකේ ඔයා මේක පටන් ගන්න ඕනේ. මොකද ඒ windows, doors, curtains ඒ ඔක්කොම design කරන්න ඕනේ මේ light ඇතුළට එන විදිහට natural sunlight ඇතුළට ගෙන්න පුළුවන් විදිහට තමයි මේ ඩිසයින් එක හදන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට එතන ඉඳලාම මේ වර්ක් ස්පේස් එකට ලයිට් නැචරල් ලයිට් ගේන්නේ කොහොමද කියන එක ඩිසයින් වෙන්න ඕනේ. Right? That is all about natural light in space. And next I will move to the nature. Right? Now, you can incorporate, in addition to those things, you can incorporate nature in the design of spaces of your organization. Most of the office spaces are dull, boring workspaces, right? You can add life and aura to these spaces and make them comfortable, pleasing places. Now look at this picture. What a beautiful place it is to work in. කොච්චර ලස්සන තැනක්ද වැඩ කරන්න. හරි ඒ ස්වභාව ධර්මයේ තියෙන දේවල් එකට එකතු කරලා මේ work space එක සකස් කරලා තියෙනවා. Right? Once Aristotle mentioned that in all things of nature there is something marvelous. මොකද ඇරිස්ටෝටල් කිව්වේ ස්වභාවික යම් දෙයක් තියෙනවා නම් මේ හැම දෙයකම පුදුම සහගත බවක් අන්තර්ගත වෙනවා. විශ්මිත දෙයක් තියෙනවා කියලා ඒ ස්වභාව ධර්මයේ නිර්මාණයන් තුල. එතකොට ඔයා මේ ආටිෆිෂල් ඔෆිස් එකට ඒ ස්වභාව ධර්මය ගෙනාවහම ඒක ලස්සන තනක් බවට වැඩ කරන්න ආස හිතෙන තනක් බවට පරිවර්තනය කරගන්න පුළුවන්. Right? So when I'm surrounded beautiful natural things, it is according my experience, right? When I'm surrounded by beautiful natural things, I sense the sense of peace takes over me, and it reduces my stress, right? And my tensions drift away. I feel that I am not alone in this universe. Then ඇත්තටම ඒක මම ගොඩක් වෙලාවට සංසුන් වෙන්න උනහම මේ ස්වභාවික තැනකට ගිහින් ප්ලේස් එකකට ගිහින් අඩුම ගානේ විනාඩි 10ක් 15ක් ඉන්න උත්සාහයක් දරනවා. හරි ඒකට හේතුව ඒ ස්වභාව ධර්මයේ තියෙන දේවල් අපිව කාම් කරලා අපේ ස්ට්‍රෙස් අඩු කරලා ටෙන්ෂන් ඉවත් කරනවා. right? අපි තනි නැහැ මේ විශ්වය තුල කියලා අපිට ෆීලිං එකක් එනවා. මේ අපි කනෙක්ට් වුණාම we feel that we are not alone when we connect with the natural environment. All of us are human beings, right? So these human beings, they have this innate desire to connect with the natural environment. Don't forget it, right? As human beings, all of us have a desire, innate desire. It is inbuilt, right? Innate desire to connect with the natural environment. So your role is incorporating the nature into your workspaces as managers of your organization. එතකොට ඔයාලට මේ කතා කරන්නේ මොනවටද? මේ ඔක්කොම දේවල් කියන්නේ managers ලා විදියට ඔයාගේ organization එකේ ඉන්න workers ලට සහ ඒක තුල ජීවත් වෙන අයට ඉතා හොඳ environment එකක් හදන විදිහ තමයි මේ කියන්නේ. right? Relate to this spatiality, right, with the behavior gate, the way you design the interior space and the furnishing it, right? The way you design the interior space in your workplace and furnishing it in a specific way, it influences how the users will move and behave in that space. Everything we do, actually now, even though we don't have control over the spaces we live in, sometimes you may have control over the spaces you live in, but most of the time we don't have control over the space or the location that we work in within the organization. But spaces we live in, right? These workspaces we work in, they have some degree of control over us, over all the employees. You know that. We can't decide the location of the organization. අපි කොතනද වැඩ කරන්න කියලා, if you are not a top level manager, you can't decide it. Someone else will decide it for you. ඔයා top level manager කෙනෙක් නම් ඔයා ඉන්නේ කොතනද කියන එක ඔයාට තීරණය කරන්න බෑ. ඔයාට you have to work in the place which is given by the organization. Organization එක දුන්න තැන ඉඳලා වැඩ කරන්න වෙනවා. හරි? එතකොට අපිට location control කරන්න අපේ space එක control කරන්න නොහැකි වුණා. මතක තියාගන්න ඕනේ space එකට පුළුවන් අපිව control කරන්න. Right? For example, spaces that are wider and more open with flexible furnishing allow freedom and movement and therefore have a positive and welcoming impact on the users. Right? The wider and more open, flexible spaces with flexible furniture that you can move here and there. Right? They give you freedom. Right? And therefore have positive and welcoming impact on the workers, right, for the occupant. Now, if we take this architectural comfort, right, and anxiety, in 2008, a researcher, Robson, right, proved that space, actually workspace, influenced one's mental health and it helps alleviate anxiety. So when you design architecture of your workspace, add elements to make employees feel like home and give them comfortable vibe. දැන් ඔයා design කරනකොට මේ workspace එක ඒක ගෙදර වගේ feeling එකක් ඇති කරවන්න. හරි? දැන් අපි comfortable place එක ගෙදරනේ. අපිට නිින්ද යන්නෙත් එතන, වැඩ කරන්නත් පුළුවන් එතන. හරි? එතකොට ඒක බැරියයට ඇච්චි. හරි? නමුත් ඒ home කියන feeling එක organization එක තුල හරි යාගේ ඒ personal space එක තුල හරි අපට හරි නිර්මාණය කරන්න පුළුවන් නම් ඒක ලොකු benefit එකක් දෙනවා කියලා මේ research prove කරලා තියෙනවා. Right? In the research, she found out that anxious people, they would select to sit in corners or next to walls for a sense of stability and comfort. People find themselves physically and emotionally comfortable in specific places. Some spaces tend to actually initiate a feeling identical to being in the comfort of one's home, as I explained earlier. You know that we are craving comfort. So create as human beings, right? As human beings, we are craving comfort. So create comfortable workspaces in organization similar to homes, if possible. Right? That is the lesson. දැන් මේ බලන්න මේ research එක හොයාගෙන තියෙනවා. එයා observe කරනවා මේ qualitative research මේ ගොඩක් දේවල් එයා observe කරනවා මේ සමහර workers ලා. හරි they are not comfortable in certain spaces. එතකොට ඒගොල්ලෝ මේ ඒ anxious workers ලා එයාලා corners වල බිත්ති අයිනේ හරි ඒ වගේ එයාලගේ stability එකක් sense of stability ඒ comfort ගන්න පුළුවන් තැන් හොයාගෙන ගිහිල්ලා ඒ තැන් වල ඉන්නවා කියලා මෙයා observe කරනවා. හරි එතකොට කාට හරි problem එකක් ආවහම එහෙම ඉන්න පුළුවන් space එකක්. හරි ඔයාට හදන්න පුළුවන් organization එක තුල. හරි එතකොට මේවා මේ psychology වලින් තමයි මේ එන්නේ. Hurry, architecture, psychology, sociology, all of those areas, disciplines have contributed to develop this to develop the concept of organizational space. Right? So they have deep meanings, right? But as managers, you can practice these things, right? They are simple, but they will change the life of your workers dramatically. දැන් මේ සමහරව අපිට සරල දේවල් විදිහට පේන්නේ. නමුත් මේ දේවල් වලට පුළුවන් ඔයාගේ organization එකේ ඉන්න workers ලගේ ජීවිත බොහෝ සෙයින් වෙනස් කරන්න. හරි ලොකු impact එකක් ඇති කරන්න පුළුවන් අපි මේ work space එක design කරනකොට ඒකට දෙන attention එකම. හරි මොන purpose එකටද මේක කරන්නේ? කොහොමද කරන්නේ? ඒක කොහොමද feelings වලට pleasurable experiences ඇති වෙන විදිහට මේක design කරාම ඒක ඉතාමත් හොඳයි organization එකට managers ලට workers ලට මේ සියලුම දෙනාට. Right. Next I will move to the next part. Right, the second part of our session. Right, what is it? Aestheticization of organizational life. Now take 1 minute and look at this office. What a beautiful place to work in. ලස්සන තැනක්ද වැඩ කරන්න නේද? Now, this is also very important part of workspace, right? It relates to the workspace, right? But you can take it separately as well as it relates to the workspace also, right? Now, first let's look at the meaning of aesthetics. Now, aestheticos, right? The term aesthetic, it has been derived from a Greek word aesthetikos, which means pleasing appearances and beauty. Actually, it relates to the perception by the senses, right? It is a branch of philosophy that deals with the nature of beauty and taste. Aesthetics, it is a branch of philosophy, again branch of philosophy, right? That deals with nature of beauty and taste. It is actually it is the pleasure, right? It is the pleasure that we derive from perceiving an object, right? Or experiencing something through our senses, right? Pleasure that we derive, aesthetic, it is the pleasure that we derive from perceiving an object or experience through our senses. For example, the pleasure that we derive from listening to music, right? The pleasure that we derive from listening to a song. The pleasure that we derive from watching a drama, watching a film. The pleasure that we derive from drawing a picture, right? Through arts, for example, right? There are a lot of other things which comes under aesthetics, right? It is a form of knowledge detained directly, actually, through 5 senses of human beings by experiencing the world. මේ aesthetic කියලා කියන්නේ ඇත්තටම අපේ 5 senses වලින් අපි derive කරන pleasure experience එකක් කියලා තමයි මේක පස්සේ මේක චුට් වෙනස් වෙනවා මම ඒක ඔයාලට කියන්නම්. A pleasurable experience එකක් තමයි අපි 5 senses වලින් ගන්න මේ aesthetic කියලා කියන්නේ. Right? It is the pleasure that we derive from perceiving an object or experiences through our senses. Right? The object may be a song, music, dance, drama, theater, or any other thing. Right? If we derive pleasure through those things, they become under aesthetics. Right? And it is a form of knowledge detained directly through the 5 senses, right? And it includes visual designs, art, colors, furniture, material, music, dance, and various finishes within the workplace. Now think about those things. They are the things that create pleasure. Right? in organizational setting, managers can use these things to give the employees as well as customers a pleasurable experience, right? Managers can use these actually aesthetic artifacts, right, or aesthetic activities to create pleasurable experiences for employees as well as for customers and other related parties, right? Um, we see beautiful patterns, right? Designs, photos, images within our organizational settings, right? And through those things, we derive pleasure, right? Then by listening to, as I explained earlier, by listening to softer sounds, right? Music, songs, even by listening to the sound of the rain and the water, sound of the a waterfall, we derive pleasure, right? In the workplace, you can use these visual designs, patterns, arts, colors, furniture, material, music, dance, and other things to create pleasurable experiences for employees and other parties. එතකොට ඔයාලා දන්නවා මේ aesthetic කියලා කියන්නේ ඇත්තටම මිනිසුන්ව සතුටටපත් කරන්න පුළුවන්. හරි ඒගොල්ලන්ව සතුටින් තියන්න පුළුවන්. good experience එකක් create කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඕනම දෙයක් මේ aesthetic යටතට ගන්න පුළුවන්. හරි එතකොට ඔයාලා දන්නවා මේ sounds ගත්තොත් එහෙම හරි ඒක song එකක් පුළුවන් නැත්නම් simple music එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන් එහෙම නැත්නම් story එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන් හරි එහෙම නැත්නම් බලන්න හිතන්න චුට්ටක් වැස්සේ ශබ්දෙට අපි කොච්චර ආසද කියලා හරි waterfall එකේ වතුර ගලාගෙන යන ශබ්දේ කොච්චර අපේ මනසට හොඳ good feeling එකක් ගෙනවද හරි එතකොට ඕනම දෙයක් anything that can create pleasure, right? You can use anything which is acceptable by the society, right, to create pleasurable experiences for employees in organizations, right? Now, however, this concept, this phenomena, aesthetic, it is not always associate itself with beauty and attractiveness. Common experiences such as feeling of disgust, ugliness, and kitsch. What do you mean by kitsch? Kitsch means art, objects, or designs considered to be poor taste, right? There are cheap decorative objects that are attractive to people who are thought to lack any appreciation of style or beauty. මේ කිෂ් කියලා කියන්නේ දැන් සමහර දේවල් අපි කිසිම වැදගත්කමක් නැහැ කිසිම සුන්දරත්වයක් නැහැ ඒවා අපි එකතු කරගන්නවා poor taste කියලා කියන්නේ හරි decorative cheap objects right නම් ඔයාලා මතක තියාගන්න මේ සමහර අය වටිනවා හරි සමහර අය ඒ වගේම වින්දනයක් දකිනවා experiences, bad experiences, not only the beautiful experiences, right? Pleasurable experiences, but also painful experiences such as disgust, ugliness, kitsch, right? Those things are also comes under this aesthetics, right? Now, this aesthetic refers, because of that, aesthetic refers to all sensory experiences. By referring the term to beauty and art, it is the way how it is been socially described. එතකොට aesthetic කියවහම ඔයාලා මතක තියාගන්න මම මේක විශේෂයෙන්ම දැම්මේ මේක ඇත්තටම මේ බොහොම ලස්සන විතරක් අඩංගු දෙයක් නෙමෙයි. හරි ඔයාලා දන්නවා අපි චිත්තත් විඳිනවා. හරි දුක් සමහර වෙලාවට අපි විඳිනවා. හරි එකත් එක්ස්පීරියන්ස් කරනවා. ඒතුළු මේ ක්‍රියේට් කරන්න පුළුවන් මේ ඔක්කොම මේ ඉස්තටික් කියන්නේ ඩිසිප්ලින් එකක් වගේ. හරි එතකොට ඒක ෆිලොසොෆි එක බ්‍රාන්ච් එකක්. එතකොට ඒකෙන් මේ හැම දෙයක්ම ස්ටඩි කරනවා. එතකොට මේ ඔක්කොම මේ pleasurable experience create කරන්න පුළුවන් දේවල් විතරක් නෙමෙයි, ඒ painful experiences create කරන්න පුළුවන් දේවලුත් aesthetics යටතට එනවා. ඉතින් මම මේ ඔයාලා දැන් master level students ලා ඒක නිසා තමයි මම මේ part එක ඔයාලට add කරේ. හරි? එතකොට ඒක ඔයාලට දැනුවත් භාවයක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ. මේ aesthetics කිව්වහම ඒක ඇතුලේ තියෙන pleasurable experience create කරන ඒවා විතරක් නෙමෙයි. Namuth, as the manager, you should know what to use, right? When you create a pleasurable experiences for your workers as well as other related parties, you should know what to use, what type of aesthetic artifacts to use to create such experiences within your organization. ඔයා ගන්න ඕනේ ඔයා මොකක්ද use කරන්නේ කියලා ඔයාගේ ආයතනයේ මේ good experiences, pleasurable experiences create කරනකොට, right? Now look at this aesthetization. Aesthetization, it is the act of making something pleasing, right? It is the act of making something pleasing. Aesthetization of organization, it means making organizations pleasing working spaces. It is about developing beautiful organizations. In the organizational context, managers use aesthetic objects or aesthetic activities to trigger aesthetic pleasing experiences. Organizational aesthetic, it is a new area, and it is a new area, right? Organizational aesthetic, it is a new area. It comprises a way of understanding organizational life based on sensory reactions to the material component of the organization, such as artifacts, physical setting, and other practices. Right? මොකක්ද මේ කියන්නේ? මේ අලුත් ඒරියා එකක්. මේ aesthetics, organizational aesthetics කියන්නේ අලුත් ඒරියා එකක්. හරි? එතකොට මේ ඒරියා එකේ ඇත්තේ අපි තේරුම් ගන්න උත්සාහ කරනවා මේ organizational life එක. හරි? අපි organization එක ඇතුලේ මිනිස්සු ජීවත් ගත කරන life එක තේරුම් ගන්න උත්සාහ කරනවා. ඒගොල්ලෝ කොහොමද මේ organization එක තුල තියෙන මේ artifacts වලට, මේ physical settings, colors වලට, music, dance, ඒ වගේ දේ ඒ අනිත් practices වලට එයාලගේ sensory reactions, sensors කොහොමද react කරන්නේ කියලා බලන අපි ඒක use කරන්න උත්සාහ කරනවා organization එකේ workers ලගේ benefits වලට. ඒක තමයි මේ organizational space කියන එක ඇතුලේ අපි කරන්න උත්සාහ කරන්නේ, right? Now aesthetic organizations, they focus on the aesthetic dimensions of everyday life in organizations, right? These aesthetic organizations, they focus on the aesthetic aspect of everyday life in organizations. Organizations do aesthetics, right? You know that. In other words, they produce aesthetic messages, right? They use different type of aesthetic objects, right? Aesthetic activities to create pleasurable experiences for people, right? Within the organization. They use these aesthetic artifacts or aesthetic activities such as products, right? The aesthetics of a product, aesthetics of the workspace, showrooms, company logo, work styles or way of relating to each other. එතකොට මේ කරන්නේ එකිනෙකත් එක්ක වැඩ කරන ආකාරයට, එයාලගේ ප්‍රොඩක්ට් වලට, work space එකට, showroom එකට company logo එකට ඒ work styles වලට මේ aesthetic add කරන එක තමයි කරන්නේ. හරි? ඒ aesthetic nature එක add කරනවා මේ දේවල් වලට. In addition to those things, they can go beyond actually. Right? Now, this is a deep area, right? This is a very deep area, right? It comes from, it is contributed by psychology, right? But I am not going to discuss those deep areas, right? So, what I am going to do is, I will tell you what to do in your organization, right? In order to create pleasurable experiences for your workers, right? In order to make their life better, right? එතකොට අපිට කරන්න පුළුවන් මේවා හරි මේ aesthetic සම්බන්ධ ඒවා මේවා මයින්ඩ් එකට බලපාන ආකාරයෙන් මේවා මේ psychology එක එන deep discussion එකක් ඕන වෙන දේවල්, right? Now organizations actually manipulate these things. මේ organizations එයාලගේ වැරදි වහ ගන්න මේ වගේ දේවල් කරනවා. නිකන් බොරුවට මවා පාණ්ඩ, right? වෙනම picture එකක් හදන්නත් මේ වගේ දේවල් පාවිච්චි කරනවා සමහර organizations. එතකොට මේක බොහොම deep subject එකක්. නමුත් ඔයාලා managers ලා විදියට ඉගෙන ගන්න ඕනේ කොහොමද මේවා පාවිච්චි කරලා වැඩ කරන මිනිසුන්ගේ ජීවිත වඩා හොඳ තත්යකට පත් කරන්න කියලා. Right? You can embed aesthetics to organizational decision making. Right? You can create your own art of organizational decision making. Right? Art of making a product, art of doing a job, right? The art of managing everyday organizational interactions, right? All of those things generate pleasurable experiences to people, right? Who work within organization, right? You can make a whole organization kind of an art, right? Everything, the way you manage these people, the way you cooperate with each other, the way you make decisions, right? You can add this aesthetic component, right? Activities and other things, the aesthetic nature to all activities, right? වාට මුළු ඕගනයිසේෂන් එකේ සියලුම දේවල් වලට කරනකොට මේ මිනිසුන්ට සතුටක් ගෙන දෙන ආකාරයට ඒ ප්ලෙෂර් ඇති කරන්න පුළුවන් විදියට මේක කරන්න ඕනේ. මේක අර නැචරල් ආර්ට් මියුසික් ඩාන්ස් ඒ ටික විතරක් නෙමෙයි. ඒ ප්ලේටෝ තමයි එහෙම කිව්වේ. හරි? ප්ලේටෝ ඉස්තටික් කියලා කිව්වේ මියුසික් ආර්ට් theater and mimic, right? Now it has been changed, right? The scope of aesthetic, that is very broad. හරිම broad scope එක aesthetics වලට ඔයාට මුළු organization එකම මේ කලාවක් බවට පත් කරන්න පුළුවන්. organization එකේ කරන හැම දෙයක්ම බොහොම ලස්සනට මිනිසුන්ව සතුටට පත් කරන විදිහට සිද්ධ කරන්න පුළුවන්. decisions ගන්නකොට ඒවා ක්‍රියාත්මක කරනකොට interact කරනකොට අර මිනිසුත් එක්ක වැඩ කරන negotiate මේ සියල්ල තුල ඒ beauty එක ගේන්න පුළුවන්. හරි? ඒක තමයි මැනේජර් කෙනෙක් විදිහට කරන්න පුළුවන්. මේ මම බොහොම සරල විදිහට deep concept එක බොහොම සරල විදිහට තමයි මම ගෙනාවේ ඔයාලට. හරි? එතකොට organization එකම art එකක් කරන්න පුළුවන් අවශ්‍ය නම්. Right? Now look at this picture. This organization has used its architectural design to give pleasurable experience for its occupants. It's a beautiful workplace, right? And organizations can use physical artifacts, right, to create pleasurable experiences, right? Such as design of office buildings, workspace design, furniture, logo, dress codes, colors. They can use all of those things, right? Music, dance, other images relating to organizational identity, artwork, languages, ceremonies, rituals, the list goes on, right? Organizations can use a lot of things, right? Lot of aesthetic artifacts, right? Objects or activities to create pleasurable experiences for employees. Now, look at this. Bauman in 2005 mentioned that like life's other activities, work now comes first and foremost under aesthetic scrutiny. Its value is judged by its capacity to generate pleasurable experiences. Work, right? Value of work, value of workplaces, value of organizations are judged by their capacity to generate pleasurable experiences. As I explained earlier, people or employees, they spend 1/3 of their time, 1/3 of their lives within organizations. So when they select organizations, especially new generation, right, workers, new generation workers, they check whether they can work happily in those organizations. One of the main factors that they consider is capacity of an organization to generate pleasurable experience, whether they can work in that organization happily or not. Being happy in the organization, right? It is great for mental and physical health. Being unhappy at work, it links with increased risk of depression and other health problems. If you consider the organizations with these happiness templates in 2021, right? Companies such as Adobe, then Ring Central, Microsoft, IBM, Zoom Video Communication, they do a lot of things to make their workers happy, right? They use, in addition to a lot of other things, in addition to a lot of other facilities, they use objects, aesthetic objects and activities to create pleasurable experiences for their workers, right? Now, here with these two slides, we have the benefits of incorporating aesthetic values to the working life. Now, this work environment that use aesthetic values, right? Aesthetic objects and other activities to create pleasurable environment. It increases the commitment and morale of the organizational members to work towards achieving the goals and objectives of the organization. If workers are happy, right? If workers are happy, if the organization create pleasurable experiences for them, if they can work within the organization without stress, they will work towards achieving the goals and objectives of the organization. And when people are allowed to gain sensually appealing experiences, they tend to work more productively, thereby this leads to enhance the performance of the organization. All of those things are the result of research, right? This aestheticization, it leads to enhance the performance of the organization. And these artifacts, right, and activities, aesthetic artifacts and activities within an organization, they are accepted as capable enough to detract organizational members from boredom and stress engendered by the rigid nature of work and its intensity. These aesthetic artifacts and aesthetic activities, they reduce boredom and stress. That is very important. Then organization එක මේ දේවල් හරි මේ දේවල් තුලින් ස්ට්‍රෙස් අඩු කරන්න පුළුවන්. හරි බෝඩම් කියන්නේ අපි බොහොම නීරස වෙනවා මේ රස්සාව. සමහරවිට එකම දේ දිගින් දිගටම කරන්න සිද්ධ වෙනවා සමහර අයට. හරි එතකොට මේ නීරස ගතිය ඒ ස්ට්‍රෙස් අයින් කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ වගේන් ඉවත් කරගන්න පුළුවන් workers ලව මේ ක්‍රමවේදයන් තුලින්, right? then create an impressive image within the minds of its clients, customers, as well as workers, and to express its unique identity to outsiders. Now think about organizations such as Apple, Google, Microsoft, IBM, right? These organizations, they have marvelous architecture, workspaces, and they use these aesthetic artifacts and activities to make pleasurable, to create pleasurable experiences, not only for the employees, but also for the parties who work with them, right? For clients as well as suppliers and all the other parties, right? Even the visitors. දැන් සමහර organizations වල මේ workers ලට විතරක් නෙමෙයි. එයාලට ඒගොල්ලන්ව visit ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ clients ට ඊට පස්සේ ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ හොඳ pleasurable environment එකක් experience එකක් ගන්න පුළුවන් විදිහට තමයි ඒ organization එකේ space එක arrange කරලා ඒ aesthetic artifacts ඒගොල්ලෝ use කරන්නේ. එතකොට මේකෙන් ඒ organization එක ගැන ලස්සන image එකක් අනිත් අයගේ හිත තුල නිර්මාණය වෙනවා, identity එකකුත් ගේනවා organization එකට, right? The distinctive image created by the aestheticized work environment needs to promote the identification of organizational members in relation to the outside world. Actually, the employees of the organizations such as this Google, Microsoft, Adobe, right? They are proud of their organizations, right? They like to introduce themselves with the organizations because of the image of the organization. This concept, it acts as a means which influence the feelings and desires of organizational members and keeps them attached to the organization, right? This aestheticization, right? It creates loyal and committed members for organizations, keeps them attached to the organization, right? So that's all for today. If you have any question in relation to this lesson, you can ask now. You have to read more on this because actually this is the start, right? If you want to learn more on these areas, please read. There are a lot of articles in the net, even though this is a new area for organizations as well as to the field of management, right? Organizational space. Scholars of psychology and this architectural designers, they have conducted a lot of researches on this area. But in the field of management, we have a few research, right? Now, when you do your project or the research or the thesis, you can select this kind of area, right? We don't have this type of research in the Sri Lankan context. අපිට මේවා නැහැ, මේ වගේ research නැහැ. ඒතර ඔයාලගේ project එක හරි research එක හරි කරනකොට මේ වගේ area එකකට තෝරගන්න. හරි? බොහොම ඉන්ටරෙස්ටිං ඒරියා එකක් ලංකාවේ සාකච්ඡා වෙලාම නැහැ මේ ඕගනයිසේෂන්ස් වල මේ කොහොමද කරන්නේ කියලා. ඒ හින්දා හොඳ රිසර්ච් කැප් එකකුත් තියෙනවා. රිසර්ච් එකක් thesis එකක් කරන්න උනත් මේ ඒරියා එක සිලෙක්ට් කරගන්න පුළුවන්. හරි? ඒකට මේ මං ආරම්භුමක් විතරයි ඔයාලට දුන්නේ ස්ටාර්ට් එකක්. හරි? මේ විභාගෙට ලියන්න මේ ටික ප්‍රමාණවත් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. නමුත් ඔයාලා මේ මැනේජර්ස්ලා විදිහට ප්‍රැක්ටිස් කරන්න මේක හරි ඉන්ටරෙස්ටිං ඒරියා එකක්. එහින්දා තව කියවන්න. හරි? තව කියවන්න. And I want to remind you that you have to submit your first assignment, individual assignment soon, right? You can select one of the article in relation to the subjects that we discuss up to now. ඔයාලට දැනට අපි සාකච්ඡා කරපු ඒරියා ඒරියාස් වලට සම්බන්ධයෙන්
Recording stopped.
තෝරගන්න පුළුවන්. අපි දැනට කතා කරලා තියෙනවා. We have discussed about individual differences, right? Perception, then attitude, values, motivation. Then we talked about these learning theories, right? And the culture. And today we talked about this aesthetics and then space. Or if you like, you can select the future topics, but better to select a familiar topic, right? දැනට ඉගෙන ගත්ත එකක් තෝරගන්න දරුවනේ ආටිකල් එකක් රිසර්ච් එකක් ඒ පටන් අරගෙන දැන් ඔයාලගේ assignment එක ඉන්ඩිවිජුවල් assignment එක ලියන්න පටන් ගන්න. හරි? Do you have any more questions? Otherwise, I can end the session. If you don't have questions, I will end the session. Thank you very much for listening. Right?
Thank you, madam.
Right. All of you are welcome.